Uvalde Radio, good morning. Robert Miguel here with you, and this is a treat. Getting excited about the big show coming up this Friday night, September 9th. Actually, a couple of shows over the weekend. Friday, September 9th, 6:30 p.m. Then two shows on Saturday, 1:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. on Saturday, September 10th. Talking about Todd Oliver and Irving the Talking Dog coming to the Uvalde Grand Opera House. And as luck would have it, they're with me here on the phone, or at least I know I got Todd here. How you doing, sir?
Well, good, Robert. Good to be on your show. Thanks.
Man, well, thank you so much for carving out some time to talk to me, to get us all kind of revved up about your appearance in Uvalde at the historic Uvalde Grand Opera House this weekend. So, Mr.
Sure.
Oliver, you're a big deal. What brings you down to little old Uvalde, Texas?
Well, at this point in my life, I'm playing theaters and opera houses all over America. And I hear there's a beautiful opera house in Uvalde. And Caitlin over there, she had expressed interest in having us. And we finally got the date booked. And it's part of my fall tour. And we're going to have a great time.
We are excited to have some world-class caliber talent such as yourself and your amazing animals and dummies coming through Uvalde. Yes, we do have a fantastic historic opera house built in, I believe, 1836, second oldest functioning in the great state of Texas. So you're in for a treat when you get to see, and spend some time there. But how much time have you spent in Texas and or Southwest Texas in general?
Well, I did about a half dozen theaters earlier in the year.
Uh-huh.
In Texas. So we played the Waco Hippodrome, and we played Granbury, the New Granbury Live Theater. We played Bremen, where the Bluebell Ice Cream is. We played the historic theater there. Oh, and there were some more. We did 25 theaters from January through June, and it's just great. I love Texas, and I love the Texas spirit, and it's a neat place to be.
Well, you are, like I said, a big deal. If I'm not mistaken, you were a finalist in America's Got Talent. Is that what I recall?
Yes, I was, and it was kind of a little backwards.
Okay.
Because I had already done a couple of Tonight shows, Jay Leno, and David Letterman did a thing called Ventriloquist Week, and we were on that week. It was me, Jeff Dunham, Jay Johnson, and Ron Lucas, and Willie Tyler. So that was at the Ed Sullivan Theater on Late Show, And then we did a bunch of other TV specials and things. What happened was I was supposed to be at a theater in Branson, and a tornado tore the roof off the theater.
Wow.
And all of a sudden I had nothing to do for about 6 months. And the America's Got Talent people had called me before, but I had turned them down because I didn't think it was a good fit. Then I found out that their viewership, primetime viewership, is more than the Tonight Show and David Letterman put together.
Okay.
So at the time I thought, well, we better do this, And so it was kind of weird doing it after I'd done all those other we did some other specials too, Las Vegas TV specials, and we did a bunch of them. I did a Howie Mandel show back when he had hair, and so it was unusual, but it went great. We were a top 4 finalist, and we really. It was a lot of fun. What I do is family friendly, and so some of the judges wanted me to kind of work a little dirty, and I just don't do that. I just don't do that. But it's not. It doesn't make the show on the hip or something, or it's just I've never worked with using bad words or sexual innuendo. So, but the thing is, it's never kept me from having great audiences, and it's all original, it's all contemporary and original. And besides Irving the Talking Dog, I've got 3 wooden-headed characters. I'm also a magician, and there's some live birds and a bunny in the show, and lots of audience participation with people on stage, and there's multimedia. We have a little short film that opens the show about a kid growing up, basically how this whole thing happened for me was my dad passed away when I was 10 years old. 3 days after Christmas, when I got my first ventriloquist dummy.
Wow.
And it kind of freaked me out. But I found that ventriloquism got me out of my sadness, and I realized it made other people happy too. So it's like a hobby that got out of hand. And the thing is, I always tell people the most beautiful sound in the world of children and their parents laughing at the same time.
Wow.
And that's the goal. All my dreams have come true. I've done every TV show I've ever wanted to do, and I've done everything. We have not done some things because I am a clean act,
Uh-huh.
So, but that's okay, that's okay. You can't play every date.
Well, we've got Todd Oliver on the phone. He's performing this weekend, Friday, and then 2 shows on Saturday at the historic Uvalde Grand Opera House. It's going to be exciting to have him. Like you said, it's going to be a nice, clean, family-friendly show. And I that story about the passing of your dad and how you took up ventriloquism, it's just, I feel like that story will really resonate, especially with this community, because I'm sure you've heard in the news that we had a very tragic incident here in town.
Yes,
if you don't mind, if you could just share a little bit more for anybody out there listening, because we do have people in this community that are dealing with loss, still a very, very touchy subject. Do you have any more advice you might be able to give them?
Well, yes, and I can tell you because it's what worked for me. When I lost my dad at being 10 years old, I insulated myself against the darkness and the weirdness, and I just I'd watch shows like Andy Griffith and the Monkees, and I'd watch stuff that made me laugh and happy. Mm-hmm. And just using my time wisely when it comes to television. And I just stayed away from negative stuff. And to this day, I'm very careful about what I read. I don't read and believe everything on the internet. We don't really watch a lot of television at home. Mm. But when we do watch stuff, it's stuff that makes us laugh and smile and feel good about life in the world. And whether you're a Christian or a Jew or whatever your situation is, I think taking life one day at a time and trying to, if you want entertainment, whether it's television or live, try to find this entertainment with sunshine, with happiness, and one day at a time. I mean, that's how it works for me. And just try not to horribilize. That's the thing. Some people they horribilize. They think, but I've got great faith in God, and I know God's steering the ship. And sometimes I remember when my dad died. I didn't know why God took my dad. We had a crazy drunk that lived across the street, and he used to beat up his family. And I never could understand why he was still walking around when my dad, who loved his family, had to die from cancer. But we can't understand everything, but we can control what we look at and what we let in our heads. I just think there's a lot of really great happiness and humor and comedy in the world, but you better insulate yourself and let in what's right for you. Uh-huh. Just because everybody else digs something, it doesn't mean it's right for you,
No, I think that's fantastic advice. It's kind of like, we're all, our minds, our hearts are processors. It's kind of garbage in, garbage out, right? So you've got to be guarded in that regard. So, yeah, I love the fact that you're kind of raised on that old school, good, clean, old-fashioned TV like we used to have. It's so different now. Do you see kind of a trend coming back towards the clean, the family-friendly stuff? I mean, you've got your contemporaries like Terry Fader and little Darcy Lynn, and you guys are bringing kind of ventriloquism kind of back to the forefront. Let's be honest. I mean, ventriloquism is a very old school form of entertainment, as far as the entertainment arts.
Yes.
Have you seen it? Do you think it's coming full circle? Do you think people are rediscovering it, or what's the story there?
I think there's a whole new birth of it, because the ventriloquism that I grew up on, everybody had a wooden-headed little dummy. Mm-hmm. You don't see, and I use those, the little wooden-headed dummies, But now everybody else, I know Darcy and Terry, and they all use the soft Muppet-type dummies. Uh-huh. So that's a new thing. And then you see and then Terry and Darcy do a lot of singing.
Right.
The only one that I ever saw do that with Willie Tyler and Lester growing up, and he's the guy that made ventriloquism cool. I mean, he was from Detroit. He was signed to Motown Records. The cool thing about him, he was a great singer. The Dummy was a great singer.
Right.
It was very hip. They do all that Motown stuff, and they were great. They were just dynamite. But so I see kind of a new, more modern approach to ventriloquism these days. I just came from the International Ventriloquist Convention in July, and we did a lecture, and I appeared on the Saturday night show they do there, and
I'm sorry, I've got to interject, but I mean, I would love to kind of be a fly on that wall. You know what I mean? Hundreds, if not thousands, of ventriloquists carrying around their suitcases and their dummies.
I'm telling you something. You think about the weirdest place you've ever been. Now, imagine walking into a hotel and there's 500 people walking around with their dummies talking to each other.
Sounds like my family reunion. What can I say?
I wish I was a psychiatrist. I would have made a fortune in this place.
We talked about this revival of ventriloquism. Let's go ahead and talk about your angle, because like we talked about Darcy and Terry, they're very talented singers. You almost forget that, there's somebody singing. But you got your whole new angle is with the live animals, and we got to talk about Irving, man. So give us your inspiration about incorporating your own beloved pet into your show.
Long time ago, one day I was looking at my dog, and I thought, man, if you could talk, you'd have a lot to say. and he's kind of a disgruntled little dog. He's a Boston Terrier. He looks like he chased a car and caught it. He's got a smashed little face. His mouth is upside down, kind of, and so it's a contrast to me being, a gentleman up there, and then here I got a dog with a kind of a crusty little attitude, and what I did was when I had the dummies in the show, and I had done a couple television shows back on TNN, back in the days of Ralph Emery and all that stuff. And the producer there became a friend of mine, and he said, well, what else do you have? And I told him about my idea of a talking dog. And he said, well, you got to do it. And so I finally did, and I did the research and development for the illusion, and I picked a dog that was I didn't want a real cutesy little dog, so I picked the Boston Terrier, and I came up with the gimmick and everything, and the first night he went on stage, the place went nuts,
Now, was he already your pet, or did you pick him fresh, brand new, to put him in your show?
I bought him, the puppy, with the intention of going into show business with him.
Wow, what a fantastic way to pick a pet, right? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was it like? I mean, and he's got to be kind of still stoic, well-behaved. How much training was there involved on that part? In that part, did you have to incorporate a pet trainer as well too, or was it all you?
Well, no, I didn't use any other trainers or anything like that. But what I did was, with the original dog, there's been 6 Irvings since 1996. With the original dog, the first thing I did is during the day, I'd play Led Zeppelin music real loud in the condo. And the dog would sit there and listen to Led Zeppelin all day long, and just screaming rock and roll, And that got him kind of used to a loud sound, a loud noise, And that was, and then I can't really take a whole lot of it credit for training him. We just spend so much time together. He just goes along with the program.
Right.
Every dog, whether he's sitting next to me in the car, or he's sitting next to me on the couch, or he's sitting next to me in my office. He's always with me. When we're on stage, he's sitting next to me on stage, and he doesn't seem to care whether there's one person in the room or there's 1,000. And he's really easygoing about it. And they all have. All 6 of those dogs have always been real easygoing.
Again, we've got Todd Oliver on the phone here, and of course, Irving the Talking Dog going to be performing this weekend, Friday and Saturday at the Uvalde Grand Opera House. Go to uvaldeoperahouse.org for ticket information and to purchase your tickets online. Now, Mr. Oliver, we live in weird times, man, because it's obvious that you love your animal, your work companion, but man, the animal rights activists, they're crazy out there these days. You ever get any guff from those people that are shutting down circuses and whatnot?
One time I got a letter from PETA.
Wow.
And it happened the first month the dog was in the act on the showboat in Nashville. And what happened was, we had a girl dancer in the show, and I think she had some problems. And she thought that I was squeezing the dog to make his mouth move.
Oh, my Lord.
You know.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and I won't tell you what she thought I was squeezing. I'm sure you can imagine. This in her mind. I mean, she was a bit out there.
Right.
So I'm not a mental health professional, but I knew something wasn't right about this lady, this girl, and she told the other kids in the show that she was reporting me to PETA. And I'll never forget, because I got the letter from a lady from PETA on Christmas Eve day. Now, this was, I think, Christmas of '96.
Okay.
Well, I called directory assistance, and I actually got the lady from PETA, I got her home telephone number, and I called her, and we had a very civil conversation. But she had never seen my act. She wrote a real nasty letter to Opryland, and accusing me of some really just ridiculous stuff.
Wow.
Well, she never saw it. She never saw my show.
Yeah, this is all like pre-YouTube, right? So, yeah.
This is all pre. Yeah, she never saw me on television. She never saw any. She never met my dog. She had never met me. She had wrote this letter all on hearsay. But I called her, and I thought I handled it right. I said, listen, I got this letter from you, but nothing you're saying this is true.
Right.
And I explained to her what I did, and then she mellowed out. and then a friend of mine is an attorney in Nashville, and I had him write her and PETA a letter following up, basically saying, okay, I'm glad we were able to talk, but just so you know, keep this letter in your file, because I'm not going to stand for someone accusing me of something that's just ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing. I know, as others have seen, there were times in show business where animals
Sure. Yeah.
weren't treated properly. Well, this is my family pet. He's my dog. He just goes to work with me, and he has a fabulous life. And when I'm on the road, every time I have a steak, he gets half of it.
That's awesome.
You know, I chop it up in small pieces. He eats steak. He sleeps next to me in my bed. He's a very loved little fella, and it shows.
Right.
Now, sometimes he may look a little bored up there, but that's okay. We make it into a fun bit, and it's funny. You know, it's just funny. And we address things like spay and neuter. I'm very passionate about spaying and neutering domestic animals, and keeping them in the winter when it's bad out, and keeping them in the summer when it's deathly hot out. All those things I try to remind the audience in a nice way. Now, I don't get up there and lecture. I'm not telling people what to do. I just tell them that the way that I treat my animals, they're happy little dog. My dog is a very happy. I have a bunny. He's a very happy little bunny. My birds, they, every day in my office, they're on my shoulders for a couple hours, and because I work in my office there. There again, spending time with your pets. That's never bullying them and spending time with them every day. I mean, they just want to be with you.
Well, it's obvious that you love your animals, and we cannot wait to see you and the chemistry you have with these pets on stage again this weekend, Friday, and then 2 shows on Saturday at the Uvalde Grand Opera House. Now, I know you've been with me for a few minutes now here, so I know your time is valuable. I'm going to let you go here pretty soon. But quickly, since you mentioned your animals, let's go and talk about your other puppets. Go ahead and give us a quick intro into your other characters.
Sure. Well, my original little buddy, his name is Joey Clark. He's a little blonde-haired, blue-eyed Smirelic. Just a little guy who knows all the answers, and he flirts with the girls, and he's just a little guy. He's not impressed with anybody. He doesn't hold ill will towards anybody. He's just a little guy that lives in a suitcase. And we've been together for over 40 years,
Wow.
50 years, almost going on 50 years. And then there's Pops and Lily, and they're, the Pops have got 2 teeth, a nose as big as your fist, and little green eyes. And, and then his little gal pal is Miss Lily Tilly. She's cross-eyed and got buck teeth, and she thinks she's the hottest thing in town. So they're very unusual. They were all hand-carved, and they're all original characters. And Pops, he sings a little song to Lily at the end of the routine that's real sweet. After the, Pops and Lily are like 2 old seniors that kind of nag each other all the time, but they do love each other. So I think it's relatable, and Joy's a hit with the kids.
It's going to be a great time for the old and the young again this weekend. Todd Oliver and Irving the Talking Dog, the funniest night of your life, this Friday, September 9th, 6:30, and then 2 shows on Saturday, 1:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. Get your tickets. Reserved seats are only $10 at UvaldeOperaHouse.org. Again, we've been talking to Todd Oliver here, man. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Where can we find more about you? Watch your stuff official. Do you have any merchandise online? Give me all the shameless plug stuff and where we can learn more and buy more.
Sure. A website is funnydog.com.
Okay.
Funnydog.com is the website. You can go on YouTube and see a lot of the TV shows are still on YouTube.
Okay.
That we've done over the years. And Irving actually is sitting right here. Irving, what do you say? We're on the radio. What do you say? Now, who's the genius that booked the Ventriloquist on radio? What do you got next week? A mime? Must be a slow day in Texas. You know why people are listening to this show right now? Yeah, it's free. All right, cool. So there he is.
Hey, we appreciate that cameo. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Very nice. Well, again, Todd, man, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We are so looking forward to the show and you bringing the whole gang. Again, UvaldeOperaHouse.org. Shout out to Kaylin and Camille at the Opera House for helping facilitate this interview. And again, we just thank you so much for spending some time with us, giving us a preview of what you're going to bring us. A great family show here in beautiful downtown Uvalde. So, Mr. Todd Oliver, thank you again, sir. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much, Robert. God bless all of you.
We'll see you this weekend, and that's going to wrap it up here with Uvalde Radio.